In a world of video stores and late fees, when movies ain't what they used to be, one podcast will change the world. They will embark on a journey to look at the good and bad movies from the golden era of home video. And things are about to get nostalgic. The VHS will rise and screaming will fall.
Whoa, Dave, this has got to be the worst promo I have ever heard.
No, it isn't.
If you're going down the route of the video trailer, man, Dave, I want a training montage.
Coming soon on a podcast near you. If you listen to one podcast this week, then you're probably listening to Joe Rogan. But if you've exhausted all other podcasts, then the VHS Strikes Back is one to try.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. And as our reintroduced theme tune suggests, we're tackling Temptation Island Season 3, Episode 4, entitled Blake the Fake, and things are getting pretty hot. But before we go into that, Chris, I want to just talk about what we saw tonight with like Julian and Kristen. How do you think things played out for them?
I think Julian's played it pretty well so far. He's been pretty much cool. He hasn't done anything, but obviously there's that thing in the background regarding him cheating. And I just saw a few things tonight, Dave, where I can see the mask dropping for Julian. And he did order, I think it was Mia. He ordered Mia about a little bit. Come sit here, come sit there. And he's a little bit of the control there. You know, he's an absolute man-mountain of a guy, isn't he? He's absolutely... Yes. I mean, you know, we had that fake Owen on Love Island Australia Season 2 who pretended he was Jason Momoa. But this guy grew his hair a bit longer. He could be Aquaman's body double, you know. So... he's got everything going on. And it's very interesting because he said, like, and I honestly thought she's very similar to Kristen, very similar. But Dave, the scars run deep, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know whether he will actually cheat because this is the last chance saloon. But I think as the episode went on, it's becoming quite apparent that Kristen is not in a good place in that relationship, one with herself or with him.
Yeah, I'm wobbling on my prediction that these will, not make it as a couple. Something's going on with Kristen that I can't quite figure out. I'm not sure. I can't see her cheating with anyone else, and I think, like yourself, I can't see anything really that Julian's done wrong. He was out on the date. I think it's Mia. I think that was her name. I think that was who we saw Tom have an argument with in the first or second episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she seems a little bit more mature than some of the other girls there. Some of the other girls seem, a bit to act a little bit younger. And so I agree. She's kind of almost that Kristen template, isn't it? So you would think as Kristen, in a way, that's kind of a bit reassuring. He's not run off with someone who looks completely different from you and acts different from you, So I don't think, looking at this, I don't think he's done anything wrong at all. All he's said is, he appreciates the way he talks to her, and I don't know, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to just, not speak or anything? So I looking at this, I can't see anything that he's done wrong. I want to not talk about the bonfire, so I think we'll talk about that at the end. But definitely through the episode, I can't fault Julian for anything that he's done at all, or Kristen. But I think we probably had the question marks around Julian a bit more, didn't we? But no, fair play to him. I know we're only 4 episodes in, but he's doing all right so far, I think.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I saw a couple of things, Dave. I'm just, Chris has got the old reality TV radar, my friend. There's just something brewing up there, I think, with Julian. So we'll see. Yeah, I think so. I think just bookmark this comment, because this will go down as one of my terrible fucking predictions, Dave, and you're going to go, whatever, Chris. You don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, Dave, I'd say who else was on my radar tonight was Erin and Corey. Now, I don't know what's going on there at all. Corey, he seems like he wants to enjoy himself and he doesn't feel he can. However, Erin had it was a weird dialogue with Shaq, Dave. I don't know what's went on with Shaq in this episode, but it was just strange, that whole dialogue, I thought.
I don't think Shaq came off very well tonight, did he?
No.
Really. He came across like one of those guys who's basically, he's acting like the nice guy, he's kind of having a laugh, having a joke, and then when he's not getting what he wants, he turns a bit nasty, really, doesn't he? What did he say? It wasn't the Shaq attack, was it? Savage Shaq, I think he said he was going to turn into. But right at the start of the episode, you can see this conversation, and he's kind of saying, he's developing these feelings. Erin suddenly, well, I don't want any of that, and so, she ends up having a talk with Evan, who, let's face it, we called out, seems a bit of a tool. Haven't seen anything to suggest in this episode that he's not a tool, but he did. I thought he did a bit of a masterclass here, Chris. He opened up, he lost his stepdad, gave that bachelor-like sob story, and obviously he's broke through on an emotional level, I think, with Erin, because she had, I didn't quite catch what the story was with Erin, but, she hadn't quite got over some grief as well. And then that's it, they have a bit of a hug. And then from there, they seem to start to develop this bit of a connection. And so I think, Shaq finds himself in the bin. Evan seems to be in the driving seat now. I do think, when you see them together, they do look like they have a connection. But honestly, Chris, when you see Evan with the lads and talking with the lads, he's exactly what we thought he was.
Yeah, he's just taking the piss and he's there for the ride. He was talking in one of the diary room headshot bits with the other two guys who'd stirred it up, Terry and that, and he was just, don't give a fuck. Trent and Rocky, not Terry, Trent and Rocky. And he doesn't care, David. He's there for he's doing the emotional stuff. And I agree. I think like with Erin, there's stuff going on there. I don't get what's happened. She must have, but there's got to be some sort of infidelity there, because she is holding on to some sort of guilt that we are not privy to, Dave. And I don't understand what is going on with. As much as Corey said about her with a football and all that stuff, if that's a career, you should support that. I don't know. There's something not being told in this relationship that's not been played out right.
Yeah, I agree. It does seem a bit strange, but certainly, she didn't want to get back with Shaq because she felt like she didn't want to lead him on. But he did just absolutely turn, didn't he? And, it just so happened that it was around about the same time that Chelsea, decided she wasn't going to take Blake on a third date. She was going to take Tom from New Jersey, who was giving it the big kind of the mouth in episode 1, I remember. Again, I think he loves himself a bit as well. And I think, to be honest, Chelsea and Tom are the most entertaining couple to watch, in terms of what's going on in and around them. She'd asked him out. Blake's obviously upset about it, and Tommy keeps dropping it in there. He keeps placing, these seeds of doubt in Chelsea's mind. He keeps using this word fake, and he says, you can see through fake people. So, I'm really glad about that. And I just think I think we called Blake out for being a bit fake, didn't we, in one of the last episodes? But that's not to say everyone else there isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if we haven't seen anything that really makes him stand out as super fake beyond anyone else. And it just seems like, quite a lot of people are calling him out there. But she kind of has a strange talk with Blake, and she calls him out for being fake. I'm thinking, when they had the dressing gowns on, and they're sort of chatting there, and she's talking. We'd seen her in the last episode have the conversation with Erin to basically say she's not happy because, he's talking with other people. He should be, directing his attention at me. And it seems like this is a bit of a lash out at him. It's like, well, because you're doing that, because you're talking to all these people and presenting yourself, and you want them to have a certain perception of you, that makes you fake. So I actually can't really figure out where the truth is in this.
No, but Dave, yeah, and you're right, and I think there's something not right with. I'm not a big fan of Tom, but there's something not right with Chelsea, Dave, isn't there? She really is a live wire. I don't know what's happened to her in the past, but this is not a good version of Chelsea at the moment in this show, and she just completely kicked it all off. I thought, Dave, Trent and Rocky are there, giving her a load of fucking flannel because she's slagging Blake off. I called out Blake last week and you did. I think he's fake as fuck. About as fake as the fucking dye he's got on his beard, Dave, just like Tom has on his head. Exactly the same. Complete fucking faker. Trying to be the good guy. Like you said about Shaq, try another one trying to be nicer than what he is and trying to play the game and talking this up. When you have to tell somebody that you're like the father of the house and you're thinking of the guys, you're not just the relationship. Dave, it's like when people say they're tough guys. If you've got to tell someone you're tough, you're not tough. And this guy is fake as fuck. And he's saying it. But then what really, really got my back up was Chelsea slagging him off. He's quite right to have a go at him. But then Shaq falls for the bait. And Blake goes, I think you need to go and have a word with him. No, Blake, you shithouse. It's you they're having a go at. Why don't you go over there? Why are you getting Shaq involved? And Shaq took it because he's Blake's mate and he went a bit fucking aggressive, didn't he, Dave? He went over there having a pop at him. And I'm thinking, Shaq, I'm not saying that Trent or Rocky's innocent because they're not, but you have fell for the old classic. Get your mate who's harder than you to go over and punch someone because you can't do it. And
I don't think Blake asked him. I thought Shaq said, I'm going to go over there. And Blake didn't say, no, just leave it.
I thought he said go and have a word with him. I thought he'd said that. I'm sure that's what he said, but I'll have to go back, Dave. But maybe you're right. But it just felt like, why is Blake not going over there and sticking up for himself? It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and he did go over eventually, didn't he? But this is where it's fucking brilliant, isn't it, Chris? We love a bit of drama like this, proper reality TV drama. It was great because you've got Erica, and I thought, you know what the other fantastic ingredient to this show is, Chris? Fucking alcohol. Because it's great.
Yes, it is.
You just see, because Erica goes all fucking Bertie Big Bollocks, quite frankly, here as well, because she hears Ray's voices and she goes, oh, I'm going to step in on this, and then she's pushing away Shaq, and then, because he's fucking fired up, isn't he? And he's like, don't touch me. And then she's like, oh, you're going at me. Go away. Go away. She's telling him to, go away. She's acting like fucking Bertie Big Bollocks. And then her nose is put out of joint because he's biting back then. And you're just watching it and thinking, sipping a fucking glass of wine and thinking, this is brilliant TV.
Yeah.
Because, they're all just acting like tools. No one comes out of it particularly well. But I definitely... I don't know who Trent and Rocky. I hadn't seen them pop up before. I don't even recall them, to be honest, Chris. But they're basically like fucking Statler and Waldorf, aren't they, from the Muppets? They just shout. They're not interested in talking to any girls or anything, unless, Chelsea had obviously come over and speaking to them then, and they're just taking the piss out of everyone and just going, oh, you're fake as fuck.
Because he said, that's probably what we do, won't they? Because he actually said, I think it was Trent went, oh, I got the big fucking stirring spud and spoon out. And fucking...
In the diary room, he's stirring the pot, and he...
Fucking brilliant. I tell you what, though, when he was the three of them, though, Evan, Tom and Trent, all three of them, Dave, were acting as if they were still at college or school, weren't they? He's like, are you going to hit that? Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm going to smash it. It's like, oh, lads, if they see that, any of the girls, they are not going to be happy. I'm like, that is just error after error.
You know what, Chris? When Evan kind of gave his bachelor sob story and, gave Erin a bit of a hug, I wobbled a bit. I thought, you know what, Dave, might have got this wrong. He shown his emotional side, and maybe I've called this one wrong. But when they're there and fucking having their chat, they're in the diary room as well, aren't they? But it's that when they're by the pool, I think that is the worst type of conversation you want aired on TV, isn't it? They're sat around, bunch of blokes. Evan's like, they're talking to Tom, and Tom's talking about how much progress he's making with Chelsea. And the fact that he's managing to manoeuvre Blake off the chessboard as well, is obviously a good thing. And Evan's like, do you think you're going to hit it? And fucking, they're like, I wasn't sure if his name was Trent, or I think when they were in the diary room, Evan called him Disco Dave. So I don't know if his character called Dave in there. Obviously a twat with a name like that. But
yep.
But he says, let's call him Disco Dave. He says, you keep doing what you're fucking doing, you're going to smash that for sure. And Evan's like, it's going to happen one night. I'm just like, you bunch of disrespectful fucks. Again, I blame myself for wobbling on my position, that basically what you've got is mostly a bunch of fuckboys who, they've got no interest in the girls other than to get a cheap shag and a few extra Instagram followers. So, yeah. And the thing is, Chelsea, she thinks she knows it all, but she's really fucking easily manipulated. And again, you could say about, Blake and how fake he is, but, going for that. What was really funny, Chris, was when she was calling him fake, and he goes, well, this is weird because I'm starting to have some feelings for you.
It's not fucking Matt James from The Bachelor, is it?
You're not helping yourself, mate. You're not helping yourself. It was just a clear deflection tactic. But you know what I spotted, Chris? She did the old eye roll. That intolerant kind of behaviour. And it's weird. I do still think there are huge problems with Chelsea and just how she approaches, how she sees what everyone else does versus what she does herself. And again, I'll talk to it at the bonfire a little bit later. But you put her and fucking Tom one-on-one. It's like the old Spider-Man meme. When you got the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're really bad at this relationship. No, you're really bad at this relationship. Fucking as bad as each other. But, Chris, this is why I love this show.
It's fucking brilliant.
But speaking of Tom, I mean, he's suddenly gone to DEFCON 1, hasn't he? He's not bothered. After that first bonfire, he's taken Sophia, which, I mean, I'm not sure. They're both obviously adults, but he's 37, she's 22. It's a bit, it's a bit of a gap, that, isn't it? I'm not saying that it's wrong as such, but it's just, well, to me, it feels a tad wrong there. But he's gone into this cheesy mode, hasn't he? He's speaking a bit of Spanish to her and stuff as well. And, he's clearly... I don't think he's smitten, but he's just pushing the flirting to an 11. And I don't quite know what his objective is. But he's not... We don't see Tom, speaking to any of the other girls, do we? He's just always kind of hanging around with Sophia and, they're having these little chats. What do you reckon about Tom and Sophia, Chris?
That's probably the most forced relationship out of all of the couples, girls and boys, Dave, depending on whichever side you look at it. It doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't. I think he's excelling in the fact that he's got a 22-year-old girl chasing after him, and I don't know what. I just don't think her intentions are genuine either, Dave. I just think it's one of them ones. It would literally fizzle out outside of the house if they ever did get together. And maybe he's doing it just to tell Chelsea, well, actually, I've had enough. He's got someone who's interested in him, and he's no stress with it. She's not chasing him. This isn't real life, is it? Let's be honest. But a lot of the contestants get very carried away, don't they? Hence why no fucker ever really stays together, bar the odd couple in these reality shows. So I don't think he did anything wrong in this episode, Tom. I know I've been critical of him. It is what it is. I can see a bit of a kiss coming between these two, though, Dave. It seems like Tom is itching. I know they played a VT of it earlier in the episode, but I think it's going to be something where when Chelsea, you know, the reaction in episode 5 will literally be Chelsea either going for it with someone else or she's going to try and break into the boys' villa and take him out, I think.
Sniper rifle from the top of the villa, yeah. No, I agree. I think a kiss could well be on the way between them two. I'm like you. I don't really think Sophia's particularly into him. He's just one of the 4 blokes that's kind of been showing her a bit of attention, and so, you know, she gets to stay in the villa a little bit longer, doesn't she? Gets to have this holiday for a bit longer, so why wouldn't you? But the way he's got that fucking shit-eating grin, Chris, it's like, you know what it reminds me? Friends. Yeah, here we go. Friends reference. You know when Ross is going out with Julie in is it the 2nd season, I think, and they're doing the old "now you hang up."
Oh, and Rachel just fucking... Yeah, I saw that the other week.
You hang up. Yeah. do you not think that's the gooiness that he's projecting at the minute? You know, it's just... it's a bit weird for me. But maybe just because I'm a fucking cynical old see you next Tuesday. But, Chris, we've been dancing around, you know, talking about some of the other couples. What do you make of Kendall and Alexis?
Dave, you're right. We have danced around this the whole episode, and I said from the start that Kendall does not care about Erica, and his whole dialogue is, you know, I am single, I'm going to do what I want, blah, 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 and then we get all sorts of... There's a build-up in there of about 10 minutes in and out of different scenes with him and Alexis, Dave. So, I think she does like a bit of chocolate, she was saying, Dave.
Yeah. Well, I'll go on to the euphemism overdrive in a minute, but I must have missed the bit, Chris, where they said, you know, you're essentially single for all this time. Because we've watched Singletown, haven't we? And they kind of talk about their boyfriends and girlfriends as exes, you know, and they make a big point of it. They're supposed to be single, go out on all these dates, whereas Temptation Island is trying to tempt someone from a couple. Whereas Kendall's like, well, hey, I'm fucking single, me. And I am going to fill my fucking boots right here. We saw this coming a mile off. I was just... The only surprise was that it didn't happen. We saw the tease at the end of the last episode, didn't we? And I thought we might open up with that, but it seems that Alexis tells the camera, you know, she says that Kendall asked her to stay, and she said no, you know, I don't do this on the 2nd day, maybe 3rd, but you know, not the 2nd day, sir. So yeah, we're getting all these euphemisms, aren't we, with the chocolate on the strawberries and stuff, and he's sort of trying to put it in her mouth, and she's saying, "Oh no, I don't want it in my mouth," and then he's like, "You took that like a pro," and then she's like, "I take dark chocolate like a pro all the time." I know it's flirty banter, but I'm thinking like a pro. Does that translate to the US, Chris?
Yeah,
I mean, to us in the UK, when you use it in that type of context, a pro is a prostitute, a hooker. So it's one of those, you know, a bit of a dirty talking faux pas there.
Yeah, big time. It is. And I think, Dave, look, it was going to happen. His justification for what happened is a classic. And it's like, I'm single. I'm going to do whatever I want. No problem. The only thing I'd say on Kendall's part, not in his defence, because obviously she's cheated on his girlfriend, but were they even together before they came into this show? And is it just a case of, you know, they were a couple, but they've been split up for a few months, and one of them works in a talent agency or something, and said, look, do you want to come and do this? Because it feels like Erica is all in, and he just doesn't care. He's got no respect for her at all, Dave. And I can't work out why you would then subject your girlfriend to that live on TV, knowing that there's so many people. I mean, look, for us as reality TV fans, it's hands over your eyes job while you look through your fingers like, oh my God, but you can't keep your eyes off. It's great we're talking about it, but fuck me, Dave, if there was ever a mistake to make, that is the mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he's properly gone for it, hasn't he? And, it actually all happens after the talent show, doesn't it? She says she doesn't have a talent except for making the first move, gives him a big old snog there. I think it frightened Corey a little bit. He's like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But yeah, of course, when they get to the bedroom there's no doubt what was going to happen. And I don't know if Alexis is intentionally coming across as a bit naive, but she's saying about, I think, he just wants someone better than what he's got right now. And it's like, really? He's just come onto Temptation Island. You're on day 3 or whatever it is. You're not very far in, and he's sleeping with someone else. So when it gets, let's say they continue this. They leave together, and then they get outside the island. Why would you be surprised when that happens to you? I don't understand it. But yeah, no, they seem to have a good time, didn't they? And obviously in the morning they're all chatting away, and the girls. I called out Nicole as being a bit of a psycho last episode because she really went at Corey for asking out someone else for a date. But I did laugh, when she's there at the dinner date, and she's like, "How was your night then?" Prying away. So, yeah, I think we said Kendall would be the first to go, didn't we? And I think I said Erin would be the first of the girls to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's playing out that way.
Well, I'm wobbling a bit on Erin, actually, because, when she came in, certainly episode 1, I thought she's just looking for an excuse. I don't think she's into this relationship with Corey at all. I actually think Chelsea now will be the first one to go.
Well, Dave, let's be honest. After the VT with Tom, she'd gone. She had gone. He'd done the old Lily and Sophia's hair. There was the peck on the cheek was the final straw. So I'd say she's going John Rambo, Dave, next week. She is ready to go through that villa door if she can get to it. Yeah, I think you could be right. It's either that or she's going to go out of spite and she's going to try and cop off with one of the guys. Just do something so he gets a bit of a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, And again, I'm going to keep my powder dry because I've got something to say there, but I'm going to talk about the bonfire. But just before I get there, I mean, we obviously had the talent show. So just before Alexis made the first move with Kendall, and he looked like the cat that got the cream, didn't he? He gave her a big 10 score. I mean, before that, we saw Nicole showing off that she can do the splits. The boys seem to appreciate the angle on that.
Yep.
And then you had Sophia licking her elbow. I thought that was an interesting one. Never seen that at a talent show before.
I don't even know what that signifies, but there you go.
Me neither. Can you?
No,
when she was doing it, I fucking no chance.
Elbow? I don't know if I can. No, I can't do that. Even with my schnoz, Dave, I can't get near it.
Well, I was trying to think, what would you do, Chris?
Dave, fuck off. Right, I know exactly what you mean.
I actually don't. It's genuine.
I thought you were trying to say put your nose on the fucking elbow. Right, okay. Well, I can touch my nose.
Play
with
the
tongue.
record player with your nose.
Yeah, it's a bit of play chopsticks with my nose. Yeah.
Oh dear. No, I wasn't thinking that. It was a genuine question because I don't think I've got. I'm sure if I thought about it, I'm sure I could think of something, but. No, I couldn't think off the top of my head. What would I do as a special talent kind of thing?
Well, Alexis's was I make the first move, Dave, as we said earlier. So yeah, she I don't know. I think she probably won that one by default.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the only reason we saw any of the talent show at all. Now, Chris, we get to the bonfire, And first up is Kristen. She sees Julian talking to the girl. I think her name was Mia. And what I found interesting, like I say, I don't think Julian was doing anything particularly wrong there. Kristen doesn't seem that put out by it either. But then Mark Goldberg's saying about how he's so perplexed with her. I couldn't work out what was going on here, Chris.
No, I couldn't. Dave, we need to have a serious chat as a podcast now. I'm breaking ranks here. Mark Goldberg.
You
call
Wahlberg.
Michelle, Melissa
you know what that is? You know what that is? Fucking autocorrect. I've got my phone and I'm typing my notes in my phone. I have put Mark Wahlberg. Well, I'm looking at it now. It's like Goldberg. Fuck you, autocorrect.
When we did The Bachelor and you were going, Melissa, and I'm thinking, who the fuck's Melissa? And it was Michelle. So yeah, right. So anyway, carry on, Dave. Sorry to cut across.
Just like to keep you on your toes. Keith.
Hey, that's my middle name.
But yeah, why? It seemed to me that old Mr. Wahlberg there was trying to say to Kristen, look, go out and fucking fill your boots. He's cheated on you. Go and,
what?
Spread thy legs and fly.
Fucking hell, Dave, right? So what I would say, though, Dave, is... What is Mark Wahlberg some aficionado on relationships, or is he like fucking Chris Harrison, where he's a presenter presenting a dating show, so it gives him carte blanche to sort of give, because he's giving advice to these people like he's fucking Dr. Phil or Dr. Drew, Dave. I don't get it. I don't. Obviously, he's the presenter, but they seem everything he takes. They seem as like, oh yeah, it must be. If Mark's saying it, it must be. I don't get that dynamic at all. He's just a fucking presenter.
He's the executive producer as well, so I think he's got an interest in it there.
Oh yeah,
I agree. I don't know what his qualifications are, which is what I think you're saying, aren't you? But I don't know. I think he offers more than Chris Harrison does, to be honest. I can't think of any good advice that Chris Harrison gives. Whereas sometimes I do think Mark Wahlberg, he does ask some good questions, gets people thinking about things in the right way. But I couldn't understand his angle on Kristen, other than, go and open up with someone else and go and explore things and make me some great fucking TV, because right now you're a bit boring. Is how it's coming across to me.
That's how I felt, because
I think he's probably nailed it with that.
I think you're right. Yeah. Don't say any more. You've absolutely gone there. I think that's right. I don't think, because the first half an hour of the episode was pretty slow, and then once we got to the Blake bit, all kicked off, and the bonfire was the crescendo, because we're all waiting for the thing. But the next one up is Erin, and obviously Erin sees again, and it's this thing where Corey, he must be like a fucking mummy or something, Dave. He mustn't speak to Erin at all, because he drops in a bit of flirting, and he goes, he'd said earlier everything's big in Texas and all that, and she gets really upset. And it's like, again, I don't think this has been as wild, other than, we talk about Kendall, but other than that, the other couples have not really bought into the fact that they're supposed to be cheating or doing stuff. Not at the moment, anyway. Maybe it'll change, like you say, playing with enough fucking cheap alcohol and the fucking anybody's game. But at the moment, Erin and Corey, like I say, I just don't understand that. If she gets that upset, then they should be together. They shouldn't be.
Was it last episode or the episode before when Erin watched Corey basically do shots off a girl's stomach, at a party, and she's like, yeah, whatever, and she seemed to blow that off like pretty easily, and then to just have this very dry conversation. And I couldn't even get, with the whole chocolate strawberries, you were getting exactly what the euphemisms were there, but where Corey's going about, they say everything's bigger in Texas. If it was Amanda saying that to Corey, you could see what the euphemism is there. But I didn't get what he was getting at. Was it just a random phrase that he knows about Texas? I couldn't get what he was. I couldn't get what he was trying to, how that was a flirty thing to say. But for some reason, the fact that he is getting on with someone is, that's the thing that set Erin off. But I thought last week's was worse, and so I don't know if she's just in a different place now, I mean, for me, I think if you're watching this and you see it's the same person, which it wasn't, it was a different girl. It was Nicole in the first one, wasn't it? And in the first date that he had, and then it was Amanda this time round. I didn't get her reaction, given the reaction at the last bonfire.
No, I didn't, to be honest, Dave. And I think you're right. The first two, Kristen, Erin, little bit tame, and then it just starts, and I mentioned about this before with Chelsea. The situation with Chelsea, she sees it with Tom. She's going full on John Wayne Bobbitt, Dave. I'm telling you, Tom's not seeing the light. When she sees Tom, he's getting a slap right across his face. He hasn't really done anything. He's building up to a kiss, but I just don't think she's someone to be trifled with, Dave.
Fucking damn right. You would properly, you'd sleep with one eye open.
Fucking telling you.
Lock away the sharp knives. What I don't like, Chris, I don't think it's a nice trait. She absolutely, more than anyone, just sees everything that Tom does as being an utter betrayal of their relationship, and she's got carte blanche to do whatever she wants.
Yes.
Right. Earlier in the episode, she's twerking away with her arse right in Tom's crotch, right? She's fucking... And then he's in a different scene. He's sort of pulling her back again. They've got, he's got his crotch right up against her arse there, and she's, like, flirting away. He basically sees Sophia give Tom a peck on the cheek, and she's like, well, that's why I'm here. And she says, I'm very respectful to our relationship. And I'm like, I just don't get it, Chris. I just don't see how, in her own mind, she is this respectful fucking nun, and he's this, this wild child that's going out there screwing everything. I think they're both as bad as each other.
Yeah, I do. I was all against Tom in the first episode. I don't really trust the guy, but I'm not fucking with him. So, whatever he's doing, he's doing. But she, there's not a good side to her, Dave. And I did say at the start, are they even a couple from LA? Are they just two people who went on one date and they're pretending to be together? I don't know. She seems very invested. I might be way off the mark, because I can never work out with these shows how they find two couples to go on this and agree to it. So that's why I'm always dubious about this.
Yeah.
However, it's like you said at the top of the show, just for purely reality TV cringe and just, what's going to happen next? This is the couple to watch, I think. I know we're going to talk about Kendall and Erica in a sec, but that is not because they're playing up to the cameras. I think Chelsea is playing up to the cameras, Dave. I think she knows what she's doing and what people want to see, and that's what we're seeing at the moment.
I don't know if she's playing up to the cameras. I don't think she's particularly endearing. I don't think she's coming off like a particularly nice person.
No.
She's coming across like a massive hypocrite who stirs a lot of shit and, fucking likes her own opinion and doesn't give a fuck about anyone else's. So I'm honestly not really liking Chelsea in this, Chris. But I think old Mark Wahlberg there, I think he did say something good, I think, in this moment. Because he says... Maybe he hasn't, he's talking about Tom here. He says maybe he hasn't done anything wrong, but what matters is how you feel about it. And I thought that was a nice, or not a nice thing to say, but a nice way to kind of call out that he hasn't done anything wrong. You've just seen him. Sophia lent him for a kiss and he offered the cheek. Really, is that the massively wrong thing to do? But because it's setting you off, then... maybe you're just not meant to be together. And I think that was a nice way to handle it. Because all was screaming in my head, Chris, was, are you fucking kidding me? Shall we wind some of your fucking reel tape back, shall we?
Fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And what I could say as well, Chris, so why have we been talking? So... Or Mark Wahlberg, what are his qualifications? Well, according to what I'm looking up here, he's known for the Antiques Roadshow and Market Warriors, which I think fully qualifies him as a relationship counsellor.
Definitely, Dave. If you can fake it till you make it, if he fucking sat there soon with his relationships TV show. Oh my God,
yeah.
that is horrendous, isn't it? That is bad. Now, Dave, come on, let's talk about the massive build-up. I felt so sorry for Erica. They play the whole thing. There's nothing. See, the other three, even with the Chelsea Tom, it's all innuendo in it. It's all suggestive videos.
Yeah.
Just putting things together. There's no fucking need to edit any of anything that happened with Alexis and Kendall, Dave, because she even got the noises in bed and everything. And I think it was Kristen behind her was just gobsmacked, and Chelsea, they were like, holy shit, and she then admitted to Mark after it played that he cheated on her in the past. And you're like, no shit, Sherlock, that is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you didn't feel bad enough already. She talked about being in a relationship and she got cheated on every weekend. And then she says, but I made an exception for Kendall. And it's like, oh, no. And you could tell she's not said this before. Mark Wahlberg certainly seemed to be surprised by it. And you're like, oh, we could see, we had a pretty good idea, didn't we, from episode 1. He'd be the first to go, but... Again, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's what I say about, the definition of idiocy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah.
And I just think, what I will say, Chris, hats off to her for, the way she kind of reacted to it.
Yeah.
She didn't sort of... And again, as I say hats off to her, that came across. I'm glad she didn't kind of give him the satisfaction if he's watching at home that, she's crying over a cheating scumbag of a boyfriend. But it does make me think as well, was she expecting it?
Yeah. It looked like it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess she'd seen a little bit before in the previous bonfire, but can you imagine, like, if fucking hell, if Tom... Can you imagine showing some footage of Tom to Chelsea? Fuck me, she would go full on John Rambo, wouldn't she? She'd be scaling the walls. His life would not be worth living.
Oh my God.
But if it came completely out of the blue, you would be absolutely rocked to your core. And yeah, I think you're right. I think she was probably expecting it. No one wants to fucking see that, but yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did handle it like in a weird way, didn't she?
Yeah, and let's see next week, because obviously, the first thing we're going to want to do is like, what's happened? We're going to get the boys' side of it as well, aren't we? So that'll play out. So I'm interested to see what Kendall is. I think he's just going to pass it off like it's nothing, Dave, and he's on a fucking 18 to 30s jolly up, so he doesn't care about it. So that could be the end of them. And I think for Erica, just seeing what we've seen in 4 episodes, she's got to have a bit of respect for herself and just walk away. She has to.
Oh, definitely from the relationship with Kendall.
Yeah.
But, we've seen her on a date with, like, Jesse. Jesse seems like a nice enough bloke, doesn't she? She probably won't be looking to couple up with Shaquille, that's for sure. But, this is what we've seen in previous seasons, isn't it? Where they kind of have a little bit of revenge, or the training wheels, or what was the phrase I'm looking for? Basically, it's all bets are off, isn't it?
Yeah, bets are off, yeah.
So I think... I don't think she's the sort of person who'll just jump into bed with some random bloke, but I think in the next bonfire, not this very next one, but in this next week when she's had time to react to what he's doing there, she might, start to look at some of these other relationships with the blokes in the house.
Yeah, hopefully, Dave. Look, it's good TV. Now, Dave, we had an email this last week by one of our friends, Darlene, and she's just entitled it "The Show." Hi,
nice.
enjoy. Yeah, well, she knows what she's talking about, Dave. She's put, "Hi, I enjoy listening to you so much that I'm listening to your Temptation Island podcast, and I'm not even watching the show. You two are a great combination of sincere, incredulous, and funny. I'm sorry that you didn't start to watch The Bachelor, The Bachelorette shows until it got odious. It used to be entertaining. It's not anymore. I find it boring now. Anyways, Big Brother Canada starts today, so I have fingers crossed that it's a good season. Thank you for what you do, Darlene in Alberta." So I did go back at Dave saying I'd have to persuade you, but we have got loads of plates spinning, so I've not suggested it, Dave. So thank you, Darlene. And I think Dave probably is thankful that I didn't suggest it to him.
Well, Chris, we've got another review actually. So this one is from the US store, and it says, I wish more podcasts were like yours. And it says, I love to watch the same crazy shows. You are both so good at getting into the episodes and keep the energy and flow going. Your wit in seeing the actions and the characters is natural and so entertaining. Keep making podcasts. You guys are great. P.S. Other podcasts go off on tangents, talk about so many things not related to the shows, laugh at their own jokes that aren't funny, use swear words excessively, speak at the pace of snails. Not you guys, you're the opposite. Now, that is from 806 Lucky Chris, and I think that is such a lovely review, and I'd posted that one on our Twitter as well, because it's so humbling when you get to see, like, feedback like that. I must admit, I had to read that sentence a couple of times when he was talking about, other podcasts go off on tangents. Kind of think we do that. Talk about so many things not related to the shows. Think we do that a little bit. Laugh at their own jokes. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
We're laughing now.
Words excessively.
Does anybody know me? I'm terrible at it, but yeah, I think she's calling me out, Dave. But no, thank you for that. It's really good review. It's really good. Now, Dave, you're not going to believe this, but in the space of a day, we've only gone and got ourselves 2 more Patreons. So we've now got 3 Patreons for the show. And if you do want to, follow us and support us, guys, get over to patreon.com/CD RealityCast. And we have a bonus episode for the top tier day, but I just want to thank our, original OG Patreon, which is Kent Gustafsson. So thanks very much, Kent. And he's a really good guy. And we've both been chatting to him. He's a really, really good guy. And he's had a listen to our bonus episode and loves it. We've got a new producer, Dave, that's come in, and that's Lucky Lulu Green. And she's one of our friends from Instagram. Instagram's a great name, that, but one of our friends from Instagram as well. And she's come in at the top tier, Dave. So her and Kent are our producers for today's episode. I want to thank them both. And she hasn't listened in to the bonus show yet, but she will be. And I really, really can't thank both of them. And then finally, Dave, we have someone who's brought us both a cup of coffee. And
awesome.
Yeah, I really can't thank her enough, Dave. We have been at loggerheads, but it's so nice that the truce is there, and Lauren has bought me a cup of coffee, Dave. Me and you were splitting it, but I really appreciate the fact that she signed up. So thank you, Lauren, as well. Awesome.
What is your coffee of choice, Chris? Are you an Americano type of coffee drinker?
Well, I'm a bit thingy. I drink a lot of decaf now. I do drink decaf tea and coffee. So, I used to like a mochaccino, Dave, actually, but I think it will be an Americano with milk, probably more than anything. Maybe for the calories, I think, because it's only about 60 calories. But yeah, mochaccino was one of my favourites back in the day.
Yeah, so I'm probably I probably should have them a bit less. I quite like a soy latte myself, but I kind of, just I have to drink a few less of them just because there's that many calories. You can have a skinny latte, obviously, but no, that's absolutely brilliant. So thanks very much. And our first episode is a sneak peek of a new project that we've got coming out actually, we haven't set a date, have we? But it'll be at least probably a couple of months out there.
Yeah.
And then, we'll just tackle different things each month. But no, that's absolutely fantastic, Chris, because we're always humbled, aren't we, that anyone actually listens to our ramblings. So it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, guys. Dave, honestly, it's so sincere from both of us, because we're just 2 friends talking about reality TV, which 2 or 3 years ago never would have happened, would it, Dave? I've dragged you in. Yeah. It's your fault, all this. You suggested this from nowhere. I'd been saying it, and yeah, it's your fault. So you created this monster, and I love it. I love everyone who tunes in and gives us good, bad reviews, everything. It's all part of the fun, Dave, and the journey, So thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. So, Dave, another week of reality TV. We've got a few days rest, and then we're back at it for the last episode of The Bachelor, early part of next week. I'll be honest with you, we know the result. Do we care? No. We'll be watching. You're damn right, my friend. So yeah, I will see you on Tuesday, my friend.
Bye now.